But I don't like a mouse.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't like that.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Mike.
It's time to do the podcast.
It is.
Let's go.
All new, all different.
But largely the same. But
Yeah.
different. Welcome to Hacking the Grepson. Season 2?
We have the longest seasons in the world.
Yeah, but we ended season 1 on a nice round number, and we're starting this on a nice odd number. But there is a 1. Yeah, welcome to episode 101 of Hacking the Grepson, where we're gonna start doing something a little different this time, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was? Because my brain is shot. I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to write a game together.
We're gonna make a game. We're gonna try to make a game. No, are we trying to make a game or are we making a game?
Let's commit to making a game.
Okay, we're committed to making a game.
My instinct is always to say try until I've done it. But let's Yoda this. Do or do not.
Right, there is no try. So we're going to make a game together, Matt and I. What that game is, what style, what programming language, what framework, who knows, who cares? Well, we'll figure that out as we go along. But you know what we wanted to do? I think we've kind of been talking about doing some kind of development project together for a long time.
Yeah.
And after 100 episodes of, the perfect podcast thus far, let's get messy. Because we don't really know where this is going to go, how long this project's going to take, how successful it's going to be. But we're going to try to record, highlights of how it's going now and then. We're going to try to stick to our usual schedule of every other week, but that might change depending on how it goes. I don't know.
Maybe we'll do short episodes weekly or something and not edit them.
Yeah, maybe just, like, hey, how's it going this week? And we'll talk about what's going on.
Like a blog.
Yeah, like an audio blog.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. So, Matt, let's make a game.
Let's do it.
Wait a second. How do you do that? What does that even mean, make a game? When you say that, what does it mean?
Usually what it means is that I write down a fun idea for a game and then I don't ever think about it again.
Well, we could crank that out in about 5 minutes.
Let's do better than that.
Okay.
What does it mean to you? You've actually made some
We've both
actual
made games
that I could play.
Yeah.
Yeah, my games are. I guess
You made Shut the Box.
I
Don't
did have
forget
Shut the Box. Yeah.
It was a long time for that callback.
I forgot that one.
Yeah.
And I've made text adventure games that
Yeah.
I play. Those are almost always me seeing what I can do with a programming language.
So they're just like
Actually, that's what Shut the Box was as well.
You just wanted to learn Objective-C or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I do this thing? And then it gets close enough, and I'm like, well, I can keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Or it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of how creative projects go. I mean, I'm a big fan of the saying that art is never done, only abandoned.
Yeah.
And I even tell my daughter that when she's working on a creative project that, what is done is so subjective that you could be done at any time. It's just when you stop working on it is when you're done,
Perfect is the enemy of done.
Exactly. Although, I will say that when we say we're going to make a game, first of all, I think we should define what is a game to you.
A game.
If you had to describe that to someone who'd never played a game, what would you say?
It's entertainment. It would be the first thing I would say.
So, entertaining.
It's and by that and I suppose it's debatable whether or not it should be fun.
Because wait, what about edutainment? Is that still entertainment? Or is
mean,
that an abomination?
If they do it correctly, it is
Okay.
entertaining.
Okay.
Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego is absolutely a game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But also educational.
Mavis Beacon teaches typing. Debatable. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
So
right. Entertaining.
So games
fun
generally have a loop, right? There's a game loop, and that's even in board games, in cards. There's some thing that you're doing somewhat repeatedly.
Yeah, a round of a board game would
exactly.
be like a loop in a video game. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually games have some sort of core gimmick to them that is what makes this stand out. What's the thing you're playing with here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of a game.
Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers, right? The core gimmick there is jumping on things, basically.
Yeah.
Right? There's not much else, because that was one of the first games that really was popular, but that was that was it, right? You run to the right and you jump on things, and sometimes you get power-ups.
Or if you go back even further, we'll say something like Pac-Man.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're eating energy pellets
Yeah,
and trying not to die.
You're avoiding ghosts, and then you're eating ghosts.
Right.
Like that's the two modes of Pac-Man. Really, it's you're running away,
eating and running away,
or you're chasing. Right. And sometimes you're not doing either of those things, depending on how you play it. You're just like, I'm going to eat all the pellets, and I'm always avoiding.
Or asteroids.
Right.
You're just shooting rocks.
Right. And your goal there is games have goals.
I was gonna say that if you didn't. Yes.
Yeah.
They have
games
a goal.
have goals. Asteroids, the goal is to not die. Pac-Man, the goal is to get to the next level by not dying.
Seems to be Pac-Man. Yeah. Super Mario Brothers. Keep going to the right and jumping.
Yeah.
Don't die.
Yeah. Now, I personally like games that don't end. I don't like the arcade type games where like you die and then you have to start all over because they want you to keep pumping quarters into them. Personally, I would rather not do that, but there should be consequences in games so that there's some level of like
challenge.
There
should be a challenge. Yeah. Like you now. I'm going to push back on that because there's such things called like walking simulators where there's no challenge and it's really just the goal is to get to the end of the story.
I don't consider those games, personally.
You don't? Okay.
I consider them interactive fiction at most.
Okay.
Which some text adventure games are also. Right?
I'm glad you brought up interactive fiction because, yeah, I'm thinking of something like Zork where...
Zork is a game.
That is a game because there's a goal. So you're not just like... It's
and there's a challenge, and there's a game loop to some extent.
But there are lots of games that are like that where you're just inhabiting a world, but there's no... Well, I wanted to bring up the idea of your loop. The loop... Because when I was doing game development in like Pico 8, which is one of those... it's like a fantasy console, has a lot of restrictions, and there's like 2 main loops that it runs. Basically, what you're putting in those loops are writing what is happening, like what's the state of the game, writing that to the screen so the player can see it, then checking to see if the player has input any change in the controls, and then if that does something to the state, update that state, and then loop over again. So you're basically showing what's happening, making changes to what's happening, updating the internal model, looping.
And that's like for a video game, that is basically always what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Shut the box. Here are the boxes. They're all open. You clicked this button. Now that box is closed. And the number you're trying to reach here has gone down or whatever.
Yeah. Like there's player agency over the state of the game, and then the game is keeping track of that.
Yeah. The problem is game itself is such a wide term. Like I think that's probably the first thing we should do is narrow down the scope of what kind. Obviously, we're talking video game.
Yeah,
right.
We're gonna do this on computers. It's gonna be digital.
Right.
We're not making a board game. We're not making an analog version of it.
I have made a board game before. It's not easy. I did not ever finish it, but we like beta tested it at I think it was called Kingdom Con in town.
Okay. Can you talk more about the details of that? I didn't know you made a board game.
With my friend Chris, who's also on Knights of the World Table. He's an improviser and artist that I know. And we made a game, and it was basically about surviving Comic-Con.
Okay.
And it was, it was very like tongue-in-cheek, but we tried to have things like nerfs and debuffs. There was a lot of, like, we used a lot... I intentionally stuck with, like, fairly well-known gaming terms. Although I was always surprised when he hadn't heard them, because he's not as much of a video gamer as I am.
Well, you just used the terms nerfs and buffs as if everybody knows what those mean.
Because I thought everyone did.
Yeah.
So a nerf is where you take... is where you reduce something in power, basically. And a buff is where you make it more powerful.
Right. And it's called a Nerf because it's based off the company named Nerf, which makes toys that are softer. Yeah.
Right. So, like, in Super Mario Brothers, to use that analogy, the mushroom is a buff.
Yes.
Right.
And getting hit by an enemy nerfs you.
Yeah. In later Super Mario Brothers, they have things like the poison mushroom that shrinks you. That's a nerf.
Right.
Except when it's not, because you can use it to get to certain areas in the game. Right? That does bring up an interesting thing, is one of my big things I enjoy in games, video games in particular, is exploration. Now, that's not a requirement of all games, but it's a thing I like in them. Every game I can think of that I like has some level of exploration, even if it's, I want to figure out this mechanic, right? Like Balatro. Half of the exploration there is really like, how can I combine these cards in a certain way to get this outcome I want?
Now that's interesting because when you said exploration, my mind immediately went to like the
Zelda.
world building
Yeah.
of a game and exploring the world.
Yeah, and that's what I usually mean by it. But all the games I like ultimately have some level of what feels, it scratches that itch in them, right? Usually video games, you have an avatar that is your character that you're playing. Not all of them. Again, I'll go to Blotro or Solitaire or any of those games. You don't really have an avatar. You are acting as you.
Right.
In the game. Like,
Yeah.
you're
not controlling
the cursor
a
is
person.
you,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. It's like a first person
Yeah.
perspective.
Exactly. Usually there's enemies in video games, not always.
Obstacles.
Obstacles is better.
Yeah, obstacles could be enemies, could be environmental things, could be knowledge.
Yeah.
Like you just don't know how to do a puzzle.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't have what you need to solve it, you just don't know how to yet.
So, like, let's take a game like Myst, right?
Okay.
Myst missed the mark on me, or I missed the mark on it, because I didn't understand what the objective of the game was when I first played it. It was like, from my perspective, I showed up on an island. I missed whatever, like, cinematic was at the beginning or an instruction book.
Oh, you didn't see the falling into the void.
But I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, okay, great.
Because it doesn't tell you.
Right. And so, like, that immediately put me off because I didn't know. I'm like, well, what's my goal?
Yeah.
Just wander around aimlessly? And, like, yeah, that is kind of the goal at first until you start to discover more of the secrets of the world. And then you start to get you're basically building out the world in your mind as you're interacting with things and solving puzzles.
Yeah.
All I needed was like get off this island. You have to get back to your wife or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like some real simple thing. And I'm like, okay, I'll figure out how to do that.
Well, and I would say another very popular game that's like that is Minecraft.
Yep. I also don't dig Minecraft.
You're just full of puns today.
I didn't even think of that one.
Yeah, you haven't punched a tree yet, but yeah, like when you start a new Minecraft world, they added later kind of mini goals, but it was more like the tutorialization, like press WASD to move, hit this button to jump, hey, you should go punch that tree to get wood, and then, hey, guess what, you have a crafting table, you can mix things together to
But what's your
things.
goal, right?
Yeah,
You're
but
not trying
really,
to do anything.
there is no goal. You it's a sandbox.
Right. And
that's another kind of game.
Which is a type of game, it's a type of game that doesn't super appeal to me. So, like, but there are sandbox games I like.
Such as?
I'm trying to remember the name of it. Satisfactory? No, Factorio. That's the one I played. That's a sandbox game, but it specifically gives you an objective of getting off the planet.
It does.
Right?
And so does Satisfactory.
Yeah, I haven't played that one.
Yeah, but it's 3D Factorio.
Lens Island is very crafty. I just started playing that, and it's like, go defeat this dungeon. It has a dungeon crawler aspect of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, go do this thing.
Yeah.
Games where you get survival games are often sandboxy, right? Like Don't Starve. And the thing I like about those is that it does have a goal, which is don't die. Like literally, the title of that one is Don't Starve.
Yeah, survive.
Right. I have issues with some aspects of the game itself.
Yeah.
But it tells you what to do.
Yeah.
But then all my building stuff in those, like when I'm crafting, it is for a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not just crafting it because it looks cool.
Yeah.
Like that. Like Minecraft, in many ways, I think is like a place to do art. Essentially, right? Terraria can be like that.
It's a palette.
Except Terraria again has more of a goal.
Yeah.
Like it starts with like, hey, go help all these people, make sure they have homes.
Yeah.
Like that little bit of goal.
Yeah.
To me is hugely important in motivating me as a player to have my character have motivation to have a game to do something.
Now, Minecraft, while it doesn't have the whole thing you're talking about, I think that's largely the reason why they added the dragon in the end. So the end is one of the dimensions of Minecraft that you have to figure out how to get to by finding a stronghold in the game, and then you get these items that, like, you line this portal, and when you get all the, I think it's like Ender Eyes, it opens up a portal much like the one that goes into the Nether, which you can do before that. You go there and you go to a dimension called the End, and when you first get there, there's a big black dragon flying around, and if you kill that dragon and then jump into the portal, you actually roll credits.
Oh wow.
And that's something they've only added in, like, the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. So win conditions and loss conditions, I think, are probably things that are part of games. I don't love losing games. I like games where you can keep playing them even after you lose. It's one of the only things I don't like about roguelikes
and
or
light.
roguelites.
Yeah.
Is that they make me reset. But there I have to start thinking of the game as more of a meta game and the loop is I'm not losing, I'm gaining stuff for next time I play. Right?
Well, and that's, I think that's a good distinction to make between rogue likes and rogue lights, because the lights do more of that. It's like you go on a lot of runs, but you do have some permanent upgrade, whereas rogue likes, which is literally like the old game Rogue,
NetHack.
Or NetHack, when you die, you lose everything and you make no progress.
Yeah, and I always struggled to keep playing that because I'm like, well, what's the point? Also, I could never remember what all the different characters meant.
Right. Well, and I was thinking, like,
what's D again?
It's obviously like patterning itself off of the arcade type of game where you try to make it as far as you can on your quarter, and then you put another quarter. But those games usually have an end. Rogue, literally, as far as I know, has no end.
I think it does.
Does it have an end?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I never got there.
Okay.
Like because you're supposed to collect, like, I think it's like an amulet, and like it tells you right at the beginning. It's like you need these 3 things.
Right.
Go get them.
But most people, I assume, never get that far. They play it a few times and then give up. Yeah.
Right. Because I couldn't ever figure it out. But the roguelikes I really like because they add that extra layer of. It makes it replayable to me because it makes it. I'm a little bit stronger every time.
Yeah.
Right? You're buffing me, or you've given me this new thing to play with in the next round. Right?
Like new mechanics, new story, new lore. That's another thing about games that is sometimes enough to make you want to play. You mentioned Myst. Like, initially, you don't even think there's a goal, but obviously you're in a world and you find books where there's like videos of people like talking to you, and you've realized that, oh, you're in a place with a name. There might be other places. How did those places get there? There's characters. That's definitely a big part of games for me, is the world building that they make.
Yeah.
That sometimes it just makes me want to be in, like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom are these huge worlds they built. Yes, they have endings, they have win conditions, but honestly, there's so many people that will just play those games and never even beat them because it's not important. They just enjoyed spending 100 hours in Hyrule.
I've never beaten Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, but it almost doesn't matter because the game itself is so rich.
See, now Zelda's interesting as that because it is a combination. You don't have to super engage with the storyline to enjoy Zelda games. You can just go around and kill stuff. But like a game like Myst, you really do need to engage in the lore.
There's no enemies,
right?
Technically,
and like I remember a game that's hugely popular. I can think of 2 games that are hugely popular that couldn't get me, and I think it's because both of them rely on you caring about like the story, and I don't. Witcher 3. Everyone loves that game.
I've not played it.
I find it incredibly dull.
Okay.
Like
you didn't identify with the world building.
I think I was supposed to care more about the reason behind the quests, and I don't.
Yeah.
In general, quests is just give me a new challenge, and I don't care necessarily. Like Skyrim is like go kill that thing. Great.
Yeah.
Go learn how to be a really cool wizard. Awesome. Right? There's no story there for me. There's a story, right? Go learn to be the Dragonborn or whatever he's called. It's relatively light.
Yeah.
And then you've got games like Myst, where that is the point of the story, or is the point of the thing. It's telling you a story. It's building it in. The other one of those, I think, is Red Dead Redemption 3. 2?
2. I don't think there's a 3 yet.
Everyone loves this game. And in that and The Witcher, in both cases, they're so slow that I get annoyed playing them. And so if there's amazing story, it takes too long to get there, and I don't have the patience for it. Right, but that's the thing that seems to drive all my friends that really like those. Is like, yeah, but then this happens. I'm like, okay.
Did you ever play the Fallout games?
I actually just recently started playing Fallout 1, just because I had never played it. But I've played my first Fallout game was Fallout 3 New Vegas, which I still think is the best one of all of them.
And you played through the whole thing and beat it and everything. Okay.
Yep, I've beaten it a couple times.
Okay.
Then I played Fallout 3, which is really good. Except I like the controls in Fallout 3 New Vegas.
You really should have gone the other way, but
yeah. Fallout 4 I've played quite a bit of. I've never gotten anywhere near beating it. And I like all those games. Those games are good because I have a goal.
Right, but I also bring up that for me, a huge part of those games is the world building and the story and the characters and the setting.
I like the way Fallout does it because it's almost in the background. Like you don't have it's not a ton of reading, and it's there. If you want to get deep into anything, it's there for you to get into. But I don't care.
So you want a game, you appreciate a game that has the lore and the world building, but if it doesn't have the mechanics to grab you, then it's kind of lost on you.
Right. I like Metroid Prime is an interesting example of how they did lore building, because it started to become everywhere, somewhat ubiquitous, which is like, you're playing the game, you could not scan a single thing in that game. You get benefits from scanning certain things.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of games that if you're playing them, you have to like pick up a book in order to gain some sort of knowledge. Fallout does that quite a bit, but I never read the books.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's not why I'm playing this game. I like to read. I have books I'm already reading. If I wanted to read, I'd just go read those books. I don't want video game. I'm playing. I like my games to be. I like my characters to move quickly. I want to get there. I don't want to wait. I wait around a lot in life, right? So escapism is huge for me in games.
I like that. Now, do you feel like all of these kind of traits of games that you like or dislike have changed over the last 20 years? Or this is how, even as a kid, you felt that way?
Alright, let's see. What were my favorite two games as a kid? Legend of Zelda and Metroid. Both of those games, heavily experience-based.
Yeah.
You're fighting stuff, which is not my favorite part of games. I don't love them. I hate bosses.
Yeah. They both feel kind of slow. They're slow exploration games, though.
I don't. But
they're not twitchy. They're not just twitchy
they're
action
not twitchy,
games.
but your character is moving quickly.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm like, oh my god, get across the screen already. Whereas like, go play Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm like, get to the horse, just walk. Why don't you have a run button, right?
It doesn't have a run button?
It probably does, but even running was like slow.
Okay.
Right, but like think about what's the one before Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I could have just used Tears of the Kingdom, right? You have things, you're exploring, you're wandering around, and you can run, but you have a stamina meter. And so like one of the things for me is like, that's a motivation to me personally. I want to increase my stamina meter because I want to be able to go just do that thing and make it easier on me as a player. Hey, it'd be so nice to just be able to climb over this mountain instead of running. Oh, drinking a potion is so irritating. Like, click this menu, this menu, this menu, this menu. I don't really want to have to do that to be able to run further, right?
You know, you bring up, we've both brought up Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Other games have done this, but one part of both of those that get maligned by a lot of people, and this is a big game mechanic that we definitely would have to talk about if it came up in our game, which is weapon durability. Does that bother you or not? Because it doesn't bother me. I think it makes the game more interesting. I'm not going to say better, because I think it could have gone either way, but a lot of people are like, ugh, I can't play those games because my weapons break. And I'm like, that's the whole point.
I don't have a problem with weapon durability. I do have a problem with the fact that once something breaks, I can't just fix it. Right? Like,
except for the Master Sword.
Right. I would go through all of my weaponry trying to beat something, and then like now I have to go get more weaponry. And that annoyed me. Like, I want to just be able to say, you've unlocked this thing, it breaks after X hits, I've now broken it, I can't use it until I go to sleep or something, right? That's the only thing I would have liked to fix, or even just like a fixed number. Especially
So you wanted everything to be like the Master Sword, where it gets used up but then can be brought back.
Yeah, but the Master Sword just came back over time.
Right.
And I would have preferred, like, you have to take it to the forge and reforge it or something. Like, they offered that for certain some of the, like, what do they call the legendary beasts or whatever?
Yes, I don't remember.
You end up with weapons from each of those. Yeah. And some of those
divine
can be
beasts.
So some of the divine weapons, I think is what they're called, can be repaired. Like the trident, I know you can repair that.
I didn't realize
requires a lot of diamonds to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I thought the cost to do it was too high.
Yeah.
But like, I liked the weapon durability because it added challenge in the midst of battle. Yeah. But it always felt like it was resetting me too far back to lose them permanently. A thing you will learn about me quite a bit as we do this, I don't like permanent consequences in general. That's true in life and it's true in games.
Oh, so you want to be able to die and come back to life?
Yeah.
Jeez. That's a lot to ask, man.
Like, I don't like permadeath in games.
Okay, so
permadeath. I don't mind it as an option.
Right, it should, like, I think the first time I ever heard about that was something like Diablo had, like, hardcore, where, like, you get one life and that's it. But yeah, it should always be a super advanced extra thing.
Yeah, that's how difficulty levels, I think, is really important in games. Because I do think games should be accessible. I don't like difficulty levels per se, but I like customizing certain aspects of it. Like,
So there should be attributes of the game that you can
So,
flip
like,
on or off.
yeah, so I got really annoyed. I was playing Lens Island. I got really irritated with one of the bosses because he healed too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fine that he heals, but he literally healed faster than I could hit him. And I'm like,
Is that because you weren't strong enough to do enough damage?
I had the maximum weapon that I could.
Did you actually beat him?
What I did is I went into the customization. I turned up my player damage and turned down his health, and then I just wiped him out.
I'm surprised that was even an option. That's so
down.
granular.
I got him down to a absolute sliver of health, like a dozen times.
Yeah.
And I was so annoyed at that point. I'm like, I clearly know how to beat him.
Yeah.
I just like, I'm not twitchy. I don't have a good twitch.
I'm amazed and impressed that they had that granular a difficulty.
Oh, it's very common these days in games.
Is it?
The new Prince of Persia game has quite a bit of that. I really appreciate, because what I like is, first off, if you're just somebody who, let's say you're a kid playing these games, and like you're falling into the lava all the time or whatever. I'm just making stuff up, and that kills you, and that takes the fun out of it. Like, I just can't get this. Well, sometimes in order to be able to get it, you need some guardrails. I guess. You need the bumpers and bumper bowling.
That's what I was thinking too.
Just to like get the physical dexterity to do the thing or like memorize the buttons. If you die instantly, it takes you out of it and it's not fun. So like I will often turn down environmental damage in games if they give me the option, because I don't want zero consequence from it, but like insta deaths from falling in a pit. No.
So I think off mic, I recommended you the UFO 50 collection that came out recently.
Open right here.
Which is like an alternate dimension, like lost 80s console, which is basically an NES analog that a bunch of game developers, one of the developers made Spelunky, Derek Yu.
Huh. I have a lot of opinions about that game.
They spent like 8 years making 50 games, all using Game Maker, which is a tool to make games, and they're definitely a throwback to the 80s. They are exactly what you don't want, which is tough as nails, lots of permadeath sending you back to the very beginning of the game, basically largely get good.
Yeah.
So you would probably not enjoy it, but there are some people that really enjoy that challenge of like perfecting a run or perfecting a game.
Right, because there's different challenges, right? I don't like games where the goal is to make me better at pushing buttons. That's not a thing I find fun.
Interesting.
I like games that make my character better so my character can do more things. And then it's easier for, like, I want to be able to make things easier for myself in general in life, but also in games. Like, just, okay, that's annoying. This is supposed to be fun. How do I make this fun?
Well, and that's why Metroid and The Legend of Zelda as a kid were your favorites, because by the end of those games, you're like a superhero.
Yeah, and it's why I don't like bosses, because bosses come in, they basically are like, no, you're not good. Right. Now you have to get good at memorizing this pattern. I don't want to do that.
Okay,
That's not interesting to me.
So if we're going to make a game together, making a twitchy 80s throwback Nintendo era game is probably not on the docket.
It would not be my choice. But there are 80s games that I like, and so there's balances, right? Metroid, you couldn't actually die, right? You died, but you came back. Always. The only way you really died...
Like, there was no game over, start from the beginning.
The only way you really died was you couldn't read the stupid blue symbols on the black background. That was your password? Your passcode to get back in.
And you just put in Justin Bailey and
you copied it down wrong. That was really the only permanent consequence.
Right.
And an annoyingly common one.
That would be a hilarious thing to bring back for our game. Password saving. Like, that was there for a reason because of the technology. There's no reason to have passwords anymore, but that would be a hilarious thing to add. I'm not saying we should do it, but it would be hilarious.
I do like games that let you kind of like type in a code to unlock things. And normally you would find that out through the course of the game, but also if you just know it, you can type it in. What's the game? Vampire Survivors has some of that.
They have a place where you can type a code in?
Oh.
Do you like Vampire Survivors?
I love that game.
Because that's definitely a roguelite, meaning that you go on runs, but when you die, you're done and you start from the beginning, but you do slowly unlock upgrades that make you more powerful.
Yeah, so that's where it's the like... No, roguelite.
Light.
Yeah.
It's
got
that. Not like Rogue.
It lets you unlock different characters, different weapons.
Right.
Like the runs I go on now are... I can't see the screen most of the time.
Yeah.
It's just nothing but chaos.
Well, because I had a time where I played that game a lot, and then I didn't play it for a while. I recently just picked it up again, and so, yeah, they have the power-up screen where you can basically improve, like, your strength, your defense. so that every run you're a little bit better than you
Yeah.
were before. Yeah.
And then also you're unlocking different characters,
Different
and different
characters.
weapons that you can use
Right.
that maybe give you different abilities, have different strategies.
Right.
I like that part of games where you're developing a The part that I want to get better at is my brain, not my fingers.
Right. No, I really like that delineation. I've never thought about difficulty being between like making me, the player, better at inputs versus making the character I'm controlling better at the game they're
Yeah.
playing.
Like I want to play a superhero and have them, have their origin story and have them be slowly getting better throughout the game, and I don't have to get better.
So you say you want to be a superhero. That brings up a good another part about games is kind of like the theming of it.
Yes.
Like what kind of themes of games do you like? And I will just start off by saying that like
What do you like?
Well, I was gonna say Fallout, since I've already mentioned it, is probably one of my favorite game series of the past 10 to 20 years. I didn't play Fallout 1 and 2 when it first came out because I don't think we either didn't have a PC and it was PC only, or we didn't have a powerful enough PC to play it. So the first Fallout game I ever played was Fallout 3 because it came out for the Xbox 360, and I played the heck out of it.
Yeah. It's a really good game.
Right, it's a really good game. The world building is amazing. For some reason, at some point, I'm sure I played a lot of like medieval fantasy themed games because there's a lot of that, like you mentioned, Skyrim
Yep.
and all of the Elder Scrolls games. At some point, I played World of Warcraft, which was also kind of a fantasy theme, a lot when I was younger. But for something, the like alternate retro futurism idea of like what did people think the future would be like
Yes.
in the 1950s, back before or during the Cold War, which is the whole point of Fallout is that a nuke is dropped.
Yeah.
And most people die unless you were in a vault that was underground, and if you were above ground and you didn't die, you became a ghoul, which was basically someone who was horribly messed up because of the bomb, and then you come out of the vault and you're like, oh, and then you explore the world, and depending on which Fallout you're playing, you have various reasons. The very first one, like your vault needs a water chip. The Fallout 3, your dad left and you're following him to see where he went, etc., etc.
Yeah. Fallout 4, you're trying to find your baby.
New Vegas, you get shot by Matthew Perry because he does the voice of the guy who shoots you.
That's right. Because that was the first one I played, I don't remember it very well.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to... I actually want to go back and replay it.
Well, he shoots you and puts you in a shallow grave, and some guy digs you out, and then you go try to find him and figure out.
It's a revenge story.
It's a revenge story, yeah.
I love those.
Yeah. But the world that they envision, all the character types, the world, the buildings, the iconography, the imagery, everything about that world just for some reason spoke to me. So that's where I like to be in a game.
Yeah.
But what about you?
No, absolutely. Fallout has one of the best worlds for me. I like... Again, I don't want to have to necessarily read or like dig into stuff really hard to get the lore. I like it. I'm a show don't tell kind of person, right? Fallout does a great job of that. You get a sense of the humor from like the dialogue that the bots that exist in the game are using. You'll hear like the TVs will be on in the background. Grand Theft Auto did a lot of that through like
the radio,
Vice City through the radio.
Yeah,
that's how you build a world in my mind.
Yeah,
it's this very show don't tell kind of thing. And if you wanted to, but I do like it having the option for people that want to dig in more.
Yeah.
To be able to do it in-game as opposed to like on a wiki.
Right, and I think Fallout 3 did that well with the terminals that you would find. You would find old computer terminals that you would hack into, and if you successfully hacked into them, you basically were like in an old-timey computer system, and there'd be like logs of like what happened in this vault or what happened in this building, and people would be like, this happened, or I got in an argument with someone. You're like, oh, that's what was happening, during that time.
Where I struggle with those is when they're too long, right? Fallout 3, I feel like, did a good job of keeping them fairly concise. But there's been some games I've played recently where it's pages. I'm like, I'm not going to read that. That's great that it's there. But what I want to know, it's because there's some, I think it's Fallout, certainly Skyrim, there's sometimes where you'll open a book and it will give you a skill or it'll start a quest. I want those specially marked so that I don't have to open every single thing. If I want to, I can open this, but I don't want to miss stuff because I didn't. But I also think that should be an option, right? That's an accessibility thing in my mind.
So accessibility is another thing to consider. And is that part of difficulty, or is that Because if it's more accessible, it's generally less hard.
It depends on what you have trouble with, right? What you struggle with, or what you don't want to deal with.
Right. It doesn't always have to be a disability. It can be just something like...
Well, and there's physical disabilities, but there's also mental ones, right?
Yeah.
Like, my ADHD brain is not going to let me do some things that just don't want to, right? Some people love the challenge of a boss fight in like a Metroidvania, of going in and dying repeatedly to try to figure out...
Or a Souls game, I think, is the real...
Yeah, which is a Metroidvania just cranked up to more difficult. Most of them are, anyway.
Okay.
Or they're RPGs. But there's a lot of Metroidvanias that are Dark Souls, or that are Souls-likes these days.
Yeah.
And I don't like a lot of them because they're too hard.
Yeah.
I don't want a game to be so... I always want to be progressing.
Now, do you think the Souls games, which when we talk about Souls games, there's Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Elden Ring. There's a whole series of these about this company From Software that makes all the... And they're generally thought of as like very hard, very unforgiving. They're definitely twitchy in that you have to get good at the mechanics to progress.
It's a lot of dodge rolling.
Yeah. Now, but do you think that it would be... And I haven't played a lot, so maybe they have these and I don't know. But do you think it would be better if they had like an easy mode where you just had like way more health, or the enemy was worse at hitting you just so you could progress? Or do you think that would ruin the essence of them? I
personally think it should be an option. I think games have a mode that they're intended to be played at, the way they're designed to be. And I think that that's great. I do think that developers should give the players the options to do things their way. If I want to just bust through a game and just win and have zero consequence, that I just want to be free and I want to kill everything, let me, right?
Like a sandbox mode.
We have a friend that watches games like on streams rather than playing them because they're too difficult or they're too whatever, right? And I'm like, it'd be nice if he could play those games at a level where he's comfortable with it, right? But that's me. I want everything to be accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's got... Minecraft is fun, but it could be made so much harder if resources became more rare, or way easier if resources were easier to get, right? Like the rarer ones.
Yeah.
If you make them more common. And most of those types of games, the building games, give you sliders on that in like your world settings.
Yeah.
But there's the way it's intended to be, and then there's the way it is. And if you're a purist, great, play it the way it's intended to be. Play Dark Souls where you die and you're dead and you and you lose all your experience points or whatever happens. Yeah. I don't want to do that. I hate games that waste my time in particular. Like if I do a bunch of stuff
and then die and lose it all.
Bosses that have multiple stages are a particular pet peeve of mine. Because, okay, I've gotten good enough to beat this guy. You know that now. I know that now. Why do I have to do it again? That's the challenge, is to get there. When he respawns with 100% health, no. I don't have time for that.
Well, now, and someone might push back and say that, like, once again, one of the things we came up with as an obstacle is the knowledge.
Yeah.
The first time you play them, you don't have the knowledge of how to beat them, but after you've played them and died, you now have more knowledge about how to beat them. So you have progressed, just not in the way that maybe you wanted to.
But my thinking is, I've proved that I've progressed. Don't make me prove it again. Because that's a waste of my time. That's my opinion on how I like or don't like games. Some people, like you said, love that. The Dark Souls lovers, the people who really like those games, love that challenge of how can I get good to beat that. Yeah. I don't like that challenge. I like it somewhat. Like a little bit. Like getting the timing. Like Zelda bosses are great, right? It's like, what's the trick to beating them? Not the, how do I endure a marathon of finger cramping button presses for 45 minutes to maybe beat them, right? It's go shoot that tail with a bomb and you're going to knock him down really hard. Great. I like that part where I'm figuring something out to make it easier.
You're reminding me of World of Warcraft raids, which I never did. I never did high-level raids where you had to get like 25 people together to go defeat a boss in a dungeon.
I would never.
That took coordination and the knowledge and the experience and the ability.
And a well-balanced team.
And there would be drama if someone like didn't do exactly the thing that they were supposed to do, and there were stages, and you had to know, oh, in this stage, you know, all the healers have to be over here, and the tanks have to be over here. Oh, but now we're stage 2. Now everybody's got to move over. You know, it's like commanding an army or a squadron. And I think there are some people that really, really dig that kind of simulation.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go anywhere near that.
I don't like playing games with other people.
Yeah, well, other people are terrible.
That's not... I almost... Other than, like, in person,
like couch co-op kind of stuff. Yeah.
Or even, like, versus, right? But, like, things like Super Mario Brothers, right?
Yeah.
You take turns.
Yeah.
Great.
What about something like what about fighting games like Super Smash Brothers?
Smash Brothers I love.
Yeah.
I don't really like most fighting games. Smash Brothers I think is great.
So
But I don't find it fun online. I've learned. I like Smash Brothers.
Well, why do you like Smash Brothers and not like Street Fighter 2 or any of those, you know, Tekken or Virtua Fighter or...
It takes itself less seriously, so it's more fun to me.
Is it also about the world building and the characters because it's all like Nintendo properties?
Characters does help. I find the characters fun. In general, in fighting games, I'm like, who cares? One of my favorite fighting games ever was...
Clay Fighter.
No. Star Wars Masters of Terrascasi, something like that.
Yes.
Where you're playing as Star Wars characters. Great game. Loved it.
But you like the Star Wars world.
But I like the Star Wars world. It was interesting to me.
And I think this is a fine point to point out because it was something that got brought up on the UFO 50 podcast that I've been listening to, where they play one of the 50 games and then talk about it each week. And one of the points that someone made was those games are made to be abrasive and easy to bounce off of because they're kind of mimicking the old school difficulty of the 1980s.
Yeah. Which were themselves inspired by arcade games.
Right. But he said that when he really enjoyed the characters and the theming and the setting, it allowed him to push past that abrasiveness more easily. But if you don't even enjoy being in the world the game created, it just, oh wait, this is also hard, I'm out.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that.
Well, then that means that if we're going to make a game together...
we should have a fun world.
Creating a world and a scene and settings is important, but that's also difficult. I think making a functional game with a mechanic is easier than making, like, a world with characters and settings that is appealing.
And I'm of the opinion that you should find your core mechanic and then build a world that makes sense for that mechanic.
Yeah.
But it should be fun, right?
Right.
We're both funny people, I think. We're creative.
Speak for yourself, man.
We're creative. I'm certainly funny. We're both creative in different ways, which I think is also helpful. So, like, I think we can absolutely come up with a fun world. I love the post-apocalyptic type settings with something that makes it different from the real world. So, Half-Life. You've got aliens, basically. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're aliens. I can't remember. Yeah, I think they are.
They are aliens. Yeah. You visit their homeworld. At
Fallout, you've got this future retro-futuristic thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also got ghouls, and you've got robots, and you've got like all this stuff that makes it interesting. The world is interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting is half of entertainment.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think another part about the Fallout world that I identify with is that all of the Fallout games are modeled after an existing real place in the world.
Oh, that is fun.
Like, you know, Las Vegas.
Boston.
Yeah. So it's like you're already kind of familiar with the world, but then they push it in that weird twisted way, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's fun. I like that. But also, like, I like games that are completely, like, fantasy-based. Like, Skyrim, I think, is a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. I don't know this world, but it's grounded enough in reality of, like, people, and they have houses, like, they're all humans for the most part, and, like, you have to go to college to go learn magic, basically, right? There's dragons, there's magic, but I need that stuff, like a super realistic. One of the reasons I don't think I like Red Dead Redemption is it's very realistic.
Too realistic.
On a horse, you've got a gun.
Yeah. You have to, like, skin the animals you kill to, like, eat them and all that stuff.
I'm not interested in that.
No.
I like survival games, but not if they become too realistic. I want them ridiculous in some capacity. So, like, you're on an alien world in Factorio, right? That kind of thing is fun. Like, something, it needs to be different enough from my mundane, normal, I do this thing every day life for me to enjoy it.
Did you like the Oregon Trail?
I did.
And that was literally based on America. I mean, obviously it was a fantasy...
But also, I was 11, and it was one of the only video games that I was able to play.
So now, well, they've done reboots of it.
Yeah, and I don't enjoy them as much.
Yeah, it had a time and place, you know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to munch numbers anymore.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But also, when I was a kid, the type of game I gravitated towards is different than as an adult. My time is precious now.
Yeah.
I don't have an entire summer to just do nothing.
Yeah.
Right? My evenings are spoken for in general until everyone goes to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I like games that I can play from my phone or my Steam Deck or my Switch from my couch while other people are, while we're watching some, silly TV show that I don't need to pay too much attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great. When I was younger, I didn't want any of that. I wanted, immerse me in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Let me live this life. Oh my God, I'm a bounty hunter on an alien planet?
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Right? I need to go save the princess, right?
So what you're saying is that to make a game now in our mid 40s, it's important to make a game that respects your time and is a game that you would actually want to play. I mean, it seems obvious to point that out, but I'm sure lots of people who are working in the games market or industry are working on games that they wouldn't necessarily want to play themselves, but are just popular.
Yeah.
Like we hadn't even talked about what platform this on. Is this something you're playing on a computer? Is this something you're playing on your phone? Something on a web browser? Those are all options.
Well, that's where I think the mechanics come in, right?
Yeah. So we got to get the mechanic first.
I feel like that's something maybe we could both brainstorm outside of this and come back and here's 5 ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I have a handful that I've written down over the years.
Yeah.
That I've even almost built games, designed the game for some of them.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, no, that won't work. Right.
Yeah.
Just to throw one out there now as a Metroidvania that uses Angry Birds types controls for jumping, right? So because I want to be able to play it from my phone. Walking on a phone is annoying because you don't have a control pad. But I like the idea of flinging myself through the air to get to where I need.
So you want it to be like a golf swing almost,
yeah,
or a slingshot.
Yeah, slingshot, Angry Birds, right? I was like, that's a fun thing, and I'm like, okay. And my idea with these has always been I'm going to build a level. Just like a single room, then you can't get to certain parts until you get the upgrade. So it's you actually you do the progression, you just do it in a minute, for testing out the mechanics. Okay, I need to be able to double jump. How do you do that? Okay, while he's in the air, you could hit the button again and pull it back, and launch yourself a second time, right?
Yeah.
And I that because I was going at that one from I love Metroidvania games. I like playing games on my phone. How do I combine those, right? That was my, how do I approach this type game? I never did anything with it.
Yeah.
But also, I don't really like playing games on my computer.
Yeah.
I like games on consoles. I like a joystick.
Yeah.
I don't know why. The phone is different because it's a tap screen.
Yeah. And that changes how you make the game because you have to think about the input is very different from a controller or even a mouse and keyboard.
I do not like using a mouse and keyboard for gaming. I use them all day for my job, and I already don't like mice. I think they're annoying.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I use a trackpad.
I really don't like that for a game.
Oh no, not for a game, but just for general.
But I don't like a mouse.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't like that. Right, that's annoying.
That's another thing that just the input.
Yeah, input's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So the setting, the input, the game mechanic, the core, what's fun.
So we've come up with a lot of different aspects of games, and we're not going to figure out exactly what we're making on this episode, but just to kind of recap some of the things we've gone over. So we basically just talked about what is a game, and I think some of the core...
And then a lot of what I don't like.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. This is a good start. I think, in general, we want to make something that is fun and entertaining. If we don't want to play it, most other people are not going to want to play it. It's got to have... I think I'm with you on this. It's got to have a goal. I'm not really interested in making a walking simulator or just an experience because that definitely requires a lot more lore and background and world building, and I think for the time that we have to do this and my abilities, that is not going to be the focus of the game. We got to have that, but there's got to be a goal and a mechanic that you're playing with that's fun. I think I'm with you on that one. What it is and where it takes place and who you are, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of challenge. Once again, it's not like an interactive fiction or a novel. You're not just pressing A through the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's actually something you have to accomplish.
Yeah.
And then difficulty is definitely going to be something that we're going to have to go back and forth on. What type of game it is. Like, it's probably not an old school arcade game. It's not a board game. It might have some roguelike or roguelite aspects. Whether you're playing as a first person, like you are the user, or whether you're controlling somebody on the screen, I don't know yet.
Are you doing first person, third person? Is it 3D, 2D, all that stuff?
Right. Like, what are the obstacles? Like, are there actual enemies? Is it just the terrain you're exploring, or is it knowledge based? You have to learn things, and then you can. Are there puzzles to solve, or
it's a puzzle game?
I don't know. And then also, like, what platform is it going to be on? A computer? Is it going to be on our phone? Is it going to be on a web browser, or is it going to be on all of them?
Right.
How do you interact with it, with a keyboard and mouse, with a controller, touching? And then there's so much more than that. But, like, I think those are the basics of, like, you start a game, there's a goal, there's some kind of mechanic you're interacting with, you're in a world of some sort, and there's a win and potentially a temporary lose condition.
Yes.
There's not a hardcore permadeath.
Temporary lose conditions, I think, are great.
Yeah.
Right. You have to start this level over in Mario Brothers. Fine.
Right.
You have to start all the way from the beginning of the game. No, thank you.
Yeah. Like there's checkpoints.
Yeah.
As you get through the game, soft progress is saved, even if you're not making like a yes, I'm stopping the game right now, but it is keeping track that you've done stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that as well. But yeah, where it's going to be, how you're going to play with it, who you're going to play as. We'll have to get there. There's a lot to consider.
Yeah, I think we could both kind of brainstorm about what kind of game we would be interested in playing and or making, and bring a few ideas of, like, maybe like world, game mechanic,
setting, characters.
Yeah, just like some ideas, and we can talk about them and see what we both jive with.
Yeah,
and then kind of progress from there. Okay, we like this type of world and we like this mechanic. Okay, that's going to make sense on a touch screen, but it wouldn't make sense on a controller because that'd be really irritating to do, right?
Right, yeah.
Or whatever.
I think something that encompasses all of this is the scope. The scope of this game. Like, is it meant to be something that you play a bunch of short sessions and slowly build up, or is it something you're going to spend hours in? Does the whole thing end after 5 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours? Are we generating all the obstacles, or is there some kind of automation or generation
or is it procedural? Yeah,
exactly. Like it those are all things to consider, and we'll have to think about.
And I think we can come with, like, what do we want to do?
Yeah,
like each of us. And if you're like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
great.
Or we find something in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but I could come with like 5 different mechanics.
Yeah,
and we'd be like, none of those sound fun. Great, let's think of another one.
Yeah, it might also be fun to prototype, because you brought up this idea off mic of prototyping a mechanic, or a set of mechanics in like a one simple room that just shows the mechanic, not actually trying to make a game with that mechanic. Just like, do I want to keep doing that mechanic over and over and over again? If not, then throw it away and start something new.
Exactly. And I think once we have that stuff, we can talk about things like game engines. If we decide we're going to do a first-person shooter, we're probably going to use a different game engine than if we want to do a puzzle game.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and also, like, if we're working on this together, how do we share the code with each other? How do we make builds that we say, hey, I just fixed this thing, here's the next build of the game, try it out, give me feedback. Like, that process I've never done with someone else. Yeah. There's a lot of ways we could do that. I'll figure that out.
I have a lot of ideas on that one. But the first step is, okay, what's the scope?
Yeah.
What's the elevator pitch for this game?
Yeah.
And then we can kind of go from there.
Exactly.
So come with some ideas from that. I'll come with some ideas for that, and we'll talk about them on episode 102.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to our inaugural edition of Hacking the Grepson Makes a Game. We will be back again with our mechanics and ideas. But until then, if you want to listen to any of our previous episodes, you can go to hackingthegrepson.com. And until we next talk at you, I was going to say the whole every 2 weeks on Wednesday, but I don't know if we're going to keep doing that. We'll get back to you on schedule. But until then, we now return you to your regularly scheduled lives already in progress.